Now, I've been always hesitant to recommend people to spend their money anywhere, so in the interest of fairness with some personal bias too, I'll describe EliteDangerous the best I can so you can draw your own conclusions. So let's start with the obvious bits. It's a space game with spaceships, lasers and aliens, be those illegal ones or mysterious ones. The closest comparison this game has to a specific game genre would be Flight Simulator, I guess. I still remember back in the day I thought that flight simulators were rather boring compared to most of the things I played. And yes, if you desecrate human corpses on a daily basis, or commit what could only be described as perverse things including jar of Vaseline, a bunch of orcs, and an unsharpened tools, then yes. Flight sims, or in this case a space sim like EliteDangerous, could look a tad bit boring. And this comes from an avid FPS player. Still, given the chance, I kept on playing the game, and it turned into something more methodical and in some ways relaxing. Yes, as said, it's not a fast game. It takes time and dedication to get going. For example, trading will require you to check what items are sold for good money and where. Exploration will take time to actually get anywhere, as well as a little bit of route planning in preparation for the journey. And for combat, you'll have to figure out which parts work best for your ship and task at hand. Additionally, be warned, if you want to fully experience the game, that is, get the biggest ships, best equipment, or even visit our own solar system, you'll be faced with quite a lot of grinding. Be that money grinding for ships and its parts, or faction rank grinding to unlock some ships or systems, or material randomness grind for engineers. All that will take time to acquire, so unless you live in Holland, the concept of working in an oversized windmill will be a new experience for you. I could say it's not quite the pick up and play game where you click one button and get thrown into arena with other murderous psychopaths. Well, technically we have CQC, but as if that thing's alive. Anyways, EliteDangerous is a rather slow moving cerebral game. Well, I say cerebral as if you need IQ more than 80 and ability to read to play it. Honestly, there are plenty of things that could be done without all that fancy stuff. I mean, look at myself. And speaking of it, this is a multiplayer game and playing with other people can be fun. Well, when the connection and instance running hamsters aren't dying from heart attacks and exhaustion. Which actually makes me wonder, how many hamsters do Frontier go through in a year? Who knows, maybe devs just have mass hamster grave in their backyard. But that's just my speculation. Anyways, playing with other people can be fun indeed, but as with any game, there are vicious murder hobos flying around in their overjuiced ships killing anyone in sight. This especially happens in highly populated areas, so expect your first player interaction to be a murder hobo gang rape, where the game basically won't be punishing such players for doing it anyways. Yeah, seems fair, right? Of course you can avoid such encounters by playing in private group with friends or solo mode by yourself. Still, you'll need internet connection for any of the game modes because all the data between different stations, events and other things gets shared between all the modes and isn't stored on your device. Even with all said, don't think the community of EliteDangerous consists of only murder hobos. There are plenty of unique player groups dedicated to different aspects of the game. Speaking of which, I recently joined the racing event and came in first to crash and burn right after the second turn. But even so, it was quite fun. Similarly, there are organized researchers for the lore and events happening in the game, exploration expeditions and more. All you need to do is just make a small inquiry on the Reddits or forums, and there will be plenty of people sharing info on these groups. And speaking of exploration, the biggest surprise for most players touching EliteDangerous is seeing the galaxy. Yes, every dot on the screen right now you can travel to. Every dot is a star system, and most star systems have additional celestial bodies in them, be those additional stars or planets. See, I've traveled to the center myself and even went as far as to go to other side of the galaxy. That took me about 2 weeks with a pretty good ship for such tasks. So yeah, it's not a joke, this is a rather huge thing, plus it's a really fun thing. If you're the first to discover a celestial body and then turn in data for it, you'll be credited as the first player to discover it. In this manner, you can even write names in the galaxy if you want. Just pack enough rations for the trip. Eating your own waste after everything runs out is not fun. Now, if you let me, I'll be a little biased towards the end, starting with the sound design. Frankly, when I first started playing the game, I was quite astonished how great everything sounded. Be that music in the background, sound effects for the ship, extraterrestrial things, all those little nuances just added to my enjoyment of the game. So much so that even after 2 years of playing, I still love the discovery recovery scanner sound effect. The game's score is quite impressive with high quality soundtracks, but I noticed that every little bit is rather serious, and none of them has this uplifting and joyful tone. It might just be me, but as a whole, music in EliteDangerous is a bit too serious. It kinda gives off the emo vibe, and if I wouldn't know better, I'd expect it to start cutting itself for attention too. Anyways, additionally, when I first started playing, I recall having trouble with controls, as with, well, really any game, but I quickly learned most of them, and to be honest, huge props to devs for designing the default control scheme to be extremely intuitive, unlike that other space sim, you know the one. I seriously cannot overstate how well key bindings, at least for the simple movement, are set. Because of this, I quickly managed to get into groove of things, and play the game without the excuse of not knowing how to stop before ramming that poor sidewinder in my semi-truck ship, completely flattening the little guy. And finally, before buying the game, well, you can actually try it. Yes, EliteDangerous has a demo version, with a couple of combat missions that partly work as the real thing. I must warn you, the demo was created with one of the first versions of the game, so it doesn't quite handle as well as it does now, but if you like the demo, it just means that it'll be better as the real thing. So there you go. Hopefully I helped you decide if the game is for you without being too biased. Oh, and hey, if you want to hear a bit more, you can always check my videos on top 10 best and worst things in EliteDangerous.